My name is Arthur, from Maine. If there are any mistakes in my writing, please overlook them. I will say beforehand, the names used in this event are pseudonyms. For obvious reasons, I do not want to mention their real names and addresses. This is an event I collected. The name of the event is the Cursed Warlock. Without further delay, let's start the event. It was late October, about 20 miles from the city, where the asphalt road ends and the gravel path begins. That is where Samuel's ancestral home is. Samuel is a journalist by profession. He lives in the city, but his pull towards his family estate has always been strong. At the end of autumn this year, he came to the country house with his wife Sarah and little daughter Lily. To spend a few days in peace, that was the reason. That day was Thursday. The sky was overcast. The wind was calm. Although autumn was leaving, there was still a damp silence in nature. The huge oak tree in the corner of the yard, in whose branches Samuel's childhood is mixed, seemed to stand even more solemnly. After lunch, Samuel was sitting in an easy chair on the porch, looking through an old book. There was a look of relief on his face. This silence far from the city, the smell of this earth, gives him a different kind of peace. Sarah was finishing work in the kitchen, and 5-year-old Lily was playing in the yard, sprinkling water with a tin mug. Suddenly, as afternoon turned to evening, the town mailman, Ralph, arrived. Ralph is a simple man of 50. Seeing Samuel, he laughed like a friend from the old days. Ralph says, "Hey Samuel, what's the news? Returned to the country after so many years." "Hey Ralph, come inside. Haven't seen you in so long. How's your health?" "Health is just getting by. After the cold snap, my body aches. There was a letter for you, so I thought I'd visit once." Ralph handed the letter to Samuel. An urgent letter from the city office. Samuel started glancing over it. Sarah brought a glass of water. "Drink some water, Ralph, and will you have tea?" "No, ma'am, I won't have tea. I have work." "Actually, Samuel, I came to say one thing. You live in the city, so maybe you don't get the news of this town." Samuel looked up from the letter at Ralph. Seeing his face, it seemed Ralph wanted to say something unpleasant. "What happened, Ralph? Any problem?" "Problem means the condition of the town isn't good, Samuel. For the last 6 or 7 months, there's been a fearful atmosphere." "Fear of what? Robbery?" No, not robbery. It's some kind of paranormal activity. People say near that old oak tree by the cemetery, something evil is roaming around." "Oh, Ralph, you're still stuck on those superstitions. Those are just made-up stories." "I admit it, I used to believe that too, but with what's happening, I'm forced to believe. Our neighbor Rick's little daughter was sleeping at night. Suddenly, what happened, she just thrashed around all night, speaking in tongues. A doctor was shown, but it was no use. At dawn, we saw her body was cold. The doctor said she died of shock, but Rick's wife says the girl was repeatedly saying in her sleep, 'That warlock, under that oak tree.'" The smile wiped off Samuel's face. As a journalist, he is always rational, but in Ralph's eyes he saw a deep fear that couldn't be false. "Warlock? Who is he? What warlock?" "It is heard by word of mouth. 15 years ago, an occultist lived outside our town. His name was Silas. He was a very bad man. He practiced dark arts, but he did it only to harm people. The townspeople couldn't tolerate it, and one night they caught him and beat him to death under that oak tree and buried him." "Murder? Didn't you inform the sheriff?" "The situation was different then, Samuel. Everyone was so scared and angry that everyone covered it up together. But now people are saying that warlock's spirit is trapped inside that oak tree.
And for the last few months, he has been taking revenge." "Oh, what are you saying, Ralph?" "You stay safe, ma'am. When night falls, don't roam around this side much. Especially after this evening. Don't go towards that oak tree at all. I want your well-being, so I said it." Saying these words, Ralph stood up. Adjusting the bag on his shoulder, he walked fast. Samuel sat still on the porch, holding the letter with a worried face. His rational mind doesn't want to accept this superstition, but Ralph's deep fear and the incident of Rick's daughter created an unknown doubt in his mind. The sun was then sinking on the horizon, a mix of orange and red across the sky. Evening falls very quickly in the country. Ralph's words seemed to have obsessed Samuel. He came to the room and saw Sarah busy feeding Lily. Coming into the room, Samuel said, "Sarah, what Ralph said, I heard it. I'm getting goosebumps. Don't completely dismiss Ralph. In the country, these kinds of things, I'm not dismissing it, but a warlock spirit? Revenge? Does anyone believe or practice these in the modern age? I think there's another reason behind this. Maybe mental illness or hysteria. As a journalist, my job is to find out the real truth. Samuel, will you start solving mysteries coming to the country now? Do you think you should do this on your vacation? I know, but the matter's attracting me. A murder, then this panic? Anyway, you don't worry, I won't go there. Tomorrow morning, I'll talk to some elder of the town. I will see what the matter of Silas the warlock was." Suddenly, Lily ran towards the porch with her toy. "Daddy, my doll fell there. I will take it," Samuel said. "No, Lily, it's evening. Don't go to the porch now. I'm bringing it." Samuel went to the porch and picked up the doll. It has become quite dark around then. Only dim light is coming through the leaves of the trees. Samuel's eyes went to the corner of the yard where their property line ended. A little far from there is the cemetery and that cursed oak tree. The oak tree stands like a monster in the dark, whose huge branches seem to want to devour the sky. Samuel felt that tonight the silence of the oak tree was much heavier than other days. He came back to the room with the doll. Closing the door, he said, "Lily, not outside at all anymore. At night, we will all stay inside now." Sarah held Samuel's hand and said, "For some reason, I'm feeling very scared. Let's go back tomorrow morning. I don't like this atmosphere at all." "Hey, don't be scared. I'm here. And besides, what Ralph said, that is also hearsay. You don't worry unnecessarily." But there was a kind of tremor in Samuel's voice, too. He himself could understand the environment wasn't normal. It was almost midnight then. The town roads were empty, silence all around. Everyone fell asleep in Samuel's room, but there is no sleep in Samuel's eyes. Ralph's words are echoing in his ears. He is tossing and turning in bed. Samuel slowly sat up. Outside, a suppressed silence that hurts the ears. He came out of the room to the porch. No moon, the sky full of black clouds. In the dim darkness, even the house yard looks unfamiliar. Just then, breaking the silence, a sound like a suppressed groan came. The sound is coming from the direction of the oak tree. Samuel's heart pounded. He tried to convince himself maybe that is a coyote or the call of another animal, but the sound wasn't like an animal's call. This was a human voice, moaning in some deep pain or agony. He carefully moved forward and held the porch railing, kept his eyes on the darkness. Where the oak tree is, it is even darker there. The sound came even clearer this time, as if someone is trying to come up from under the ground and cannot breathe. Samuel's hands and feet are getting cold. His rational mind is not working anymore. He clearly understood this sound is not normal. A kind of primal fear is mixed in this sound. When he stood listening to the sound with deep attention, then suddenly a sharp metallic sound floated from the direction of the oak tree, as if some heavy thing crashed hard on the ground. After that, everything was quiet, absolutely silent. A cold current went down Samuel's spine. He returned to the room with quick steps. Sarah woke up and sat up, fear and questions in her eyes. "What was that sound? What is happening outside, Samuel?" "Nothing. You sleep. Maybe some wood fell." "No. Was that the sound of wood? It seemed as if someone pushed the door, and before that there was a groaning sound." Samuel held Sarah's hand. He didn't want to give Sarah false assurance, because he himself knows how abnormal the sounds were. "You don't worry. I'm turning on the light. We'll stay awake now. If something happens, I will see. If anyone tries to do anything, I will call the sheriff, but you calm down." He turned on the table lamp. Pale yellow light spread inside the room, but even that light couldn't remove the deep darkness outside. One thought kept revolving in Samuel's mind,
as if someone is trying to come up from under the ground. Is this that cursed warlock, Silas, whose spirit wants to take revenge? If so, then even if this event was created by human hands, its consequence is turning towards a supernatural fear. Samuel vowed, tomorrow morning he must uncover Silas's past, his death, and the truth behind the oak tree, because now not only his own peace, his family is also facing an unknown danger. Dawn broke. However, the fatigue of waking at night and suppressed panic in Samuel's house seemed to dim even the daylight. The mark of a sleepless night is clear on Samuel's face. Outside, there is still a light haze like fog. Even though Sarah woke Lily up, there is a kind of fear in her face. Lily is playing normally, but she also senses her parents' abnormal silence. Samuel went into the kitchen and held Sarah's hand. "Do you think we will go back?" "Making tea," Sarah said. "What I heard last night, even after that, you want to know? You're a journalist. You should believe in logic. But the sounds last night followed no logic, Samuel. I feel that oak tree is truly cursed." "Yes, I admit, the sounds were abnormal, but running away is not a solution. Even if I truly accept it as ghosts, still I would want to know why. The events have been happening only for the last 6 months. Silas died 15 years ago. Now you don't need to find the answer betting your life. Listen, I will just talk to the town elders. I won't go near the oak tree. I will just know what exactly happened that night, and then why this panic spread. Please let me try once." Sarah remained silent for a while, then sighed. "Okay, but promise you will return before it becomes afternoon, and keep an eye on Lily." Samuel nodded. He got ready, took a small camera and his notebook in hand. His journalist entity couldn't avoid this mystery. Samuel walked to the center of the town. The old wooden houses, unpaved yards, everything seemed normal, but in people's eyes he could see a shadow of suppressed fear. Everyone seemed to want to speak, but was afraid. Samuel went to the town's oldest man, Old Man Miller. Miller is touching almost 70. He was sitting on the porch, hunched over, smoking a pipe. Seeing Samuel, Miller nodded. "Uncle Miller?"
I am Samuel. Came after a long time. Samuel. But in a broken voice he said, "I recognized you, son. Like your father, you also have a pull to the homestead. You did well coming, but the time now isn't good. Uncle, that is why I came to you. I heard about the warlock under the oak tree. Silas was, Tell me, what was the real event?" Miller put down the pipe. His 2 eyes seemed absorbed in some terrible memory of many years ago. "That is a heinous story, son. Silas, yes, everyone knew him by that name. He wasn't a man of our town, though. About 20 years ago, he came from somewhere and made a den in that broken shack by the cemetery. At first we thought maybe a hermit, helping the townspeople. But what he did wasn't worship, it was devilry. What did he do? In the name of occultism, he ruined people. He eyed the poor girls of the town. Once a widow of the town who had an only son, he forced her. Then one day her son died of fever. People said Silas took the boy's life for his dark rituals." Samuel was listening with attention. He felt this was a case of ordinary revenge, not a supernatural matter. "That means everyone in the town hated him." "Not hate, son. They feared him. No one dared to open their mouth about what he did. But when Rachel, the baker's wife, hung herself in her room, the dam of the townspeople's patience broke. Rachel reportedly couldn't escape Silas's witchcraft." "Then, what did you do?" "That night was a new moon. All the young men of the town, us few elders, everyone went to his shack with bats and pitchforks. He was still doing some heinous act of his. We caught him. He couldn't resist. He was dragged under the oak tree. We all beat him with bats." Miller's voice trembled. Samuel could understand the horror of that day's scene. "You killed him?" "Yes, son, we killed him. After that, we dug a hole beside the roots of the oak tree and buried him. Then we all promised we would never tell this to anyone. We believed we did what was needed to finish a devil. Informing the police would have ruined everyone in the town.
But now people say his spirit is taking revenge. Why is this? Lowering his voice, Miller said, "This is the mystery, son. For 15 years everything was quiet. We all had forgotten. But for the last 6 or 7 months, a kind of chill has descended on the town. First the event of Rick's daughter, then last month Dave lost his cow. The cow was lying under that oak tree at dawn, but its 2 legs, someone had cut them off. Dave said no human can do such work." Hearing Miller's words, a cold current flowed inside Samuel too. Cattle mutilation, this is a sign of psychotic distortion. But is there anyone like that in the town? And why are all events related to the oak tree? "Uncle, why did Mike go under the oak tree?" He used to say at night, "A very sweet song floats from beside the oak tree, the voice of some woman." He supposedly went to see who was singing. We forbade him. He didn't listen. Samuel stood up. He thanked Miller. This information is very important to him. Mike, whose eyes were gouged out,
went under the tree, pulled by a sweet song. If Silas the Warlock returned, why would he sing in a woman's voice? Samuel felt if Silas's revenge is true, then another human or another motive is hidden behind it. Maybe someone is using the event of burying Silas as an opportunity. Afternoon is passing. Samuel still couldn't control himself. He is now going directly towards the oak tree. Camera and notebook in his hand. He broke the promise given to Sarah, because if he doesn't see the end of this mystery, his sleep at night will be ruined. Samuel stood at the last boundary of the town. In front is that oak tree, huge, century-old. Thick branches and numerous vines have come down to the ground. The tree seems to have created a deep darkness around itself. Even in daylight, the place is cold, damp, and quiet. No sound of wind. Samuel advanced towards the tree, saw the mound of earth at the base of the tree. This is where Silas was buried. The mound is now covered in moss. Wild vines have grown on it. Samuel took out his camera, took a few photos of the tree trunk, vines, and the mound. He felt the air around. This air is somehow heavy, as if 1,000 unspoken words are mixed in this air. He thought if someone is committing these murders, spreading this rumor of a curse, then is he hiding nearby? Suddenly, Samuel noticed something unusual at the base of a vine behind the oak tree, much like old cloth or a torn sack. He moved forward carefully. He saw that is a torn, worn-out piece of linen, as if it was under the soil for many years or rotted in some closed place. A sweet, wild smell is coming from the cloth. Samuel wrote the description of the smell in the notebook. Just then he remembered Mike's words. At night, a sweet song floats from beside the oak tree. Sweet smell. Then is there any connection of the song with this smell? Any drug, any chemical that hypnotizes people and brings them under the tree? Samuel carefully took the piece of cloth in hand. The thing is very cold, as if just lifted from the soil. He put it in a plastic bag. Right at that moment, he heard a whisper from behind the tree, very faint but clear, as if someone is speaking near him, but no one is there. Samuel looked around quickly, only the oak tree and its shadow of darkness. The whisper is vague. "Go back, go back." Samuel's hair stood on end. He's a journalist. He knows these can be mistakes of the mind, play of the wind, but this whisper was so clear that it is hard to disbelieve. He steeled himself. Samuel said, "Someone is scaring me. Someone wants to keep this place empty." He quickly went near the mound and started examining the soil closely. Is this soil really dug 15 years ago, or did someone come here recently? Samuel saw the soil at one corner of the mound is a little loose, as if someone recently removed a little soil and covered it again. Samuel got goosebumps.
As soon as he moved that loose soil, his hand touched something hard. He carefully dug the place further. A broken part of a metal pot came out. But the specialty of this pot is some strange symbols are drawn on it, occult symbols, which Samuel hasn't seen before. Samuel took the broken part of the pot in hand. Immediately, he felt the surrounding temperature suddenly dropped a few more degrees. His hands and feet became frozen. Right at that time, a branch on top of the tree seemed to break with a loud crack, and a sharp, wild smell rushed from the tree, which is the exact opposite of the previous sweet smell. This is the smell of rotting meat or something poisonous accumulated for a long time. Samuel quickly moved away from there. This time, he is sure what is happening here is not just superstition. Rather, someone is intentionally creating this atmosphere of fear. But this cold, this whisper, and this smell, are these just human manipulation? When Samuel returns home, it is evening. Sarah is standing at the door with a worried face. She asks, "Where were you? I was worried to death. And is this smell coming from your body?" Taking out the piece of cloth and the broken part of the metal pot from the plastic bag, Samuel said, "I found these. I'm sure someone dug up Silas's grave." "What are you saying? Do you want to endanger your life?" "No, but look at this." He shows the piece of cloth. This was spreading a sweet smell. Uncle Miller said Mike supposedly went under the oak tree drawn by a sweet song. I think someone is applying drugs on this cloth or mixing something else to attract people. "But the pot, and why this rotten smell on your body?" Samuel then told about his experience: loose soil, metal pot, whisper, and finally that sharp, rotting smell. Samuel said, "I think some mentally deranged person or some adversary is using this occult rumor. They maybe dug up Silas's grave and removed some occult item, and under its influence something is happening." Sarah touched the pot with trembling hands, then said, "I feel this pot is very old. Samuel, this is not the work of any ordinary human. I cannot stay at night." Samuel was about to say something. Just then a loud knock fell on the door. Everyone inside the room was stunned. It is deep night then. Who can it be? Samuel signaled Sarah to hold Lily. He silently opened the door. Lucas, a local villager, stands outside. Lucas's eyes are sunken, his face pale. He's panting. "Samuel, you leave from here. I have seen it." "What have you seen, Lucas? Calm down and say." "Tonight, hearing a groaning sound from the direction of the oak tree, a few men of the town went with torches. We couldn't see anything, but when we were returning, I suddenly looked towards the oak tree." Lucas's body started trembling. The fear in his eyes seemed to infect Samuel too. Hanging in the vines of a tree branch.
"Our town's boy, Rick's nephew, Gary."
Hanging means, did he commit suicide?
"No, not suicide. His body was hanging from the branch of the oak tree, but his face was turned backwards."
Lucas closed his eyes and this time cried out loud. "Someone killed him and hung him. His eyes were also gouged out like Mike's. The oak tree took someone again. Silas, he has returned." The piece of the metal pot fell from Samuel's hand to the ground with a noise. This time he couldn't convince himself anymore. This is not the work of any ordinary human. Such brutality. The root of this curse is deeper. Someone has woken Silas again, or committing all these atrocities in his name, creating an atmosphere of extreme fear. Samuel moved away from his role of journalism and turned into a scared man. His family is now in grave danger. Samuel said, "Lucas, did you inform the sheriff?" "Yes, I did. But before that, you go. Don't stay here this night. Return tomorrow morning. No one knows who is on Silas's list of victims." Samuel closed the door. Hearing everything, Sarah stood like stone. In a trembling voice, she said, "No more, Samuel. Right now. We will leave right now." Samuel looked at Lily. Lily is scared, holding the hem of her mother's dress. Samuel took an extreme decision. Running away now won't work. The mystery web of the oak tree must be torn, because if this event is a human's work, then that killer maybe is keeping an eye on them. And if it is truly something supernatural, then there is no safety in running away. Samuel said, "No, Sarah, we won't go now.
I am phoning the police, and I will also ensure tomorrow a good forensic expert from the city comes here. I will test the soil from under the oak tree tomorrow morning. Maybe someone is doing some chemical or poisoning in the name of occultism. I will see the end of this mystery." This decision of Samuel seemed to invite an unknown danger. He knew a terrible night is going on in the town. This was the event. It would have been good if the event ended here, but it didn't. If this is selected, I will write and send the next part of the event. Saying this, he finished his event. We read the first part, and we will wait for the second part. So, this was our event today. Hope you liked it.
First of all, I apologize if there are any mistakes in my writing. Please overlook them. I don't know how true this will seem to you and the listeners, but only the person it happens to understands the reality. Without delay, let's get into the event. The incident is about my cousin. His name is Bobby. I was in 7th grade then, about 10 or 15 years ago. The incident centers around my house. Our property size is about 10 acres. Bobby was my oldest uncle's son. He was very brave. And our house is a hill house, like an old plantation bungalow somewhere deep in the secluded countryside. However, many called our house the witch house because before my grandfather's time, there were 2 mysterious ancient standing stones on top of the hill. My father said they were supernatural, flew in from above. He heard it from his father. Between the 2 stones is a tree. To this day, no one recognizes what kind of tree it is, but the main incident centers around this tree. It must have been midnight. Bobby's little sister called my grandmother to go outside to the outhouse. Grandmother was very sleepy. She didn't get up, so forced she went alone. It was almost 2 a.m. Suddenly, grandmother woke up from sleep and saw her granddaughter hadn't returned yet. She went out and went toward the outhouse, but didn't find her granddaughter. She screamed, telling everyone in the house to search, and everyone got tense at her words. Suddenly, everyone heard a scream on top of the hill. It must have been 4 a.m. then. Everyone started running and going up the hill. What everyone saw, they weren't prepared to see that. They saw that tree, whose story I told before. She is lying unconscious high up on top of that tree. A few people grabbed her and brought her down from the tree. When her consciousness returned, everyone said, "What happened?" Then she told us the event. When I went out for the outhouse, I saw a woman in a white dress standing in front of me. It was as if blood was dripping from her eyes. I was screaming, but no sound was coming out of my throat. I lost consciousness. After that, I don't remember anything else. Hearing all this, my eldest uncle, he brought the local parish priest, and for about 15 minutes, sitting alone in a room of our house, the priest talked with someone unseen. Then, coming out, he told my uncle, "By God's grace, she survived. The tree you have on the hill, an ancient demon lives in that tree. Your daughter is devout and prays regularly, so the demon couldn't do anything." Then the priest gave some holy water and a protective silver medallion and said, if going near a cemetery, the medallion must be taken off. A few days after this, everything was okay. Suddenly, the priest died of a massive heart attack. I don't know why this happened to the priest. Did he really have a heart attack or something sinister? The medallion the priest gave, suddenly my cousin's sister lost it while swimming in the creek on the property. After this, the terrifying events started. At night, she couldn't be found. In the morning, she would be seen lying unconscious high up on top of that tree. At night, my cousin's sister had to be tied to her bed. Again, a plan was made to bring another priest from far away, and Uncle brought him. The new priest saw the situation and said, "This is beyond my ability." When asked the reason, at first he wasn't agreeing to say, but finally he was forced to say. The priest said, "The event that happened with your daughter before, that demon is very powerful, because of which that demon killed the first priest.
Hearing this, we were all surprised. The priest further said, "It won't be possible by me. I will mention someone, an old demonologist. He can do it." My uncle went twice down to New Orleans to find him. Finally, he was found in New Orleans, and it was known it would take him 5 or 6 days to travel here. Is the event finished? No, it just started. I said before, the main event is about my cousin Bobby. Do you remember? Listen. Not being able to tolerate his sister's illness or this condition, he went out to cut down that tree. In a fit of rage, going to cut a branch of the tree, his arm broke and the axe flung from his hand. After this, Uncle cursed a lot. Within an hour, his arm swelled up. They did an X-ray. The doctor looking at the report says the arm isn't broken physically. Within a few days, gangrene set into Bobby's hand. Even after taking many antibiotics, it didn't get better. Suddenly, news came to Uncle that the occultist, meaning the demonologist who was supposed to be brought, he arrived in the area. They brought him. He told them to bring some ritual items, like black candles, pungent incense, a yard of white linen cloth, an earthenware bowl, and a live red rooster. After bringing these things, the demonologist prepared a ritual circle in our backyard courtyard, placing incense, candles, white cloth, earthenware bowl, and in the middle seated Bobby. After a long time, the demon appeared, taking possession of Bobby. He is a boy, but started speaking in a twisted girl's voice. Everyone was horrified. The demonologist commanded, "Why do you want to destroy the girl's life? And why did you mess with the boy? I have lived in this tree for almost 200 years. His father killed my daughter. I told him, I will kill your daughter. I was waiting for an opportunity for this, but he brought someone else to banish me. I killed him instead. After this, I will take his son." The demonologist said, "What do you want to leave? Name your price and go away." It wouldn't agree at all. The demonologist still kept trying the exorcism, and at one stage, that demon agreed. Sacrificing the red rooster that was there, the entity left. Did you understand one thing? What the event really is? I know maybe many didn't understand. The root of the main event is my uncle, because the demon's child was going along the hill disguised in the form of a snake, and my uncle, thinking it was just a regular snake, killed it with a shovel. However, thank God, now everything is okay. This was the event. Freddie from Salem, Oregon, sent us the event. Many thanks to you for sending us the event.